13th goal of the season in all competitions. What about this for a stat? He's now been directly involved in 28 goals in 31 Premier League games. 21 goals and 7 assists for the Gabon international. That is lights out, isn't it?
No, that's greedy. That's just being greedy. That's unbelievable. When you think, you know, he came in, was it January last year?
It was.
Takes your time to assimilate, takes your time to a new club, a new city, a new league.
Change of managers in the middle of all of that as well.
So, hats off, sir. It is breathtaking.
Yeah, Emerick Aubameyang is the goal scorer so far. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0, Premier League Live. We have played 15 and a half minutes. At TalkSport Live, your thoughts on Over, a potential player of the season nominee? I think he's got to be in the conversation if he can keep this up.
He'll have some stiff competition, but
he will
certainly be in the conversation. Now, Sean Dyche and Burnley have a problem. Do we try and get an equaliser, or do we limit the damage?
I think you've got to try and push, surely, because you've already got, as they have, a horrendous goal difference, because they've been thumped in a couple of other matches this season. We'll come back to that as Aubameyang turns provider this time. Little ball through to Ozil, to Kolasinac. I think the ball would have trickled out of play. The referee considered playing advantage, saw the state of play. Tarkowski bringing down his man on the far side. And Arsenal have a free kick. A nice attacking position about 30-35 yards out.
I'd be surprised if Burnley concede on a free kick, but the way Burnley's season's going, it might just happen. I think, though, Burnley will consolidate, shut out, and then hope for set plays themselves as a route to goal to get back into this game.
Tricky game to play, though, as Gary says. We're already a goal down. Remember, Arsenal haven't led in any of their Premier League games at half-time this season, which is a remarkable stat. Will they this time? Ozil with a short free kick, looks for Kolasinac, says we're already a goal down. Remember, Arsenal do well to just shepherd the ball back of their Premier League games. That opportunity this season was a remarkable stat. Will they this time? Ozil with a short free kick, looks for Kolasinac, says we're already a goal down. Remember, Arsenal do well to shepherd the ball back of their Premier League games. That opportunity this season, which is a remarkable
the last thing you want to be doing is facing your own goal and changing across coming in, because that has danger written all over it.
Just looking at the replay again, it's a very good job that Lacazette, who was tempted to touch the ball in himself to make sure, did, because I think he might have been in an offside position had he done so. He went to kind of help guide it in and then withdrew his foot, because obviously Aubameyang had done all the hard work and it was going in.
Maybe he gets a call. Maybe he gets the call to leave it. I mean, a bit of communication is as vital in the defensive side as it is in the attacking area.
Burnley with a very speculative shot from distance just there, which goes out of play for a goal kick to the Gunners. Arsenal with 68% possession to Burnley's 32 in the game so far, but El Neni is dispossessed by Taylor. Good work from Charlie Taylor. Hendrick now with the loose ball. Wood, can he get a shot away? Offside flag on the far side. Decent play from Burnley, but just mistiming it slightly, that attack.
Just set himself up. Arsenal, it's a risky job to try and play offside inside your own 18-yard area, but El Neni again getting dispossessed in centre midfield. He's got his back to Burnley's goal, doesn't see what's behind him, gets the ball into feet, then loses possession. That is causing Arsenal problems when midfield players are getting caught in possession.
Even though El Neni's played on and off a fair bit in the Cups and in Europe, if you've not played much in the intensity and pace and pressure of the Premier League, if you're a little bit kind of off the pace, it can really show, can't it?
It's not easy to come in and out and out and in and stay out for a long time, then be thrown back in, then taken out. So he's going to find himself coming to terms with the rhythm of this particular game.
Sure, will grow into it, because Mohamed El Neni has actually been a very solid squad utility player for the Gunners since he was signed from Basel.
He's been a good acquisition for Arsenal. He just hasn't found the game time under Emery for whatever reasons.
Arsenal back into possession, leading 1-0 courtesy of Aubameyang. Here's Lacazette, thought about a long ball forward, just chip the ball wide to Guendouzi instead. Here is El Neni. Arsenal quite happy to take the sting out of the game for a second and just stroke the ball around now that they have this one goal advantage.
All they want to do is keep possession, just inside Burnley's half, to try and draw them out of that defensive compact shape they have.
Guendouzi head up with those long flowing locks, those locks that were of course tugged by Maro and Fellaini the other week at Old Trafford. El Neni in field looking for the run of Kolasinac, who does very well to get there ahead of his man. Here is Sead Kolasinac doing what he loves to do. In field to El Neni, whose shot is blocked. Good play from Tarkowski, but the ball comes loose to Maitland-Niles, edge of the box. He shoots straight at Joe Hart, stings the former England man's palms. Hart kicks it out. Maitland-Niles not too far away from a first of the season for Arsenal.
Kolasinac Kolasinac on the gallop on the left-hand side. Burnley have got to do an awful lot to stop him because he is just blasting down that left side. Maitland-Niles does brilliantly well because he moves from right to left to right to bring it back to get the strike, just cannot get it past Joe Hart.
Well, we know how good Sead Kolasinac was in the Bundesliga. We saw him start like a house on fire for Arsenal, then he seemed to lose confidence and picked up a couple of knocks and looked a bit defensively frail. For me, I do wonder whether playing as a wing back for a while, where the defensive responsibilities have taken away, have just helped build his confidence a little bit. And now back as a regulation left back, his all-round game looks a little bit sharper. Arsenal, anyway, back onto the attack. Didn't quite make anything work in the far corner as they play the ball back in field.
What's helping Kolasinac is that Burnley aren't pushing onto him, so he can push forward, and he's in a more attacking position right now.
So he can basically play as a wing back, even though it's a flat back four.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good point. It certainly plays to his strengths. Xhaka in field to Ozil. Thought about ghosting another pass through, went short instead to Lacazette. Here's El Neni, left-hand edge of the penalty area, about 5 yards away from it. Maitland-Niles tries to guide the ball around Taylor.
Okay, so that's the right back, Maitland-Niles, in contesting a ball behind Burnley's defence. We've got Kolasinac on the far side, getting in behind Burnley's defence to cut balls back to get a goal. This is where Burnley are having their problems because they're not able to cope with Arsenal's width, which is coming, as we said, from before kick-off, from deep lying positions. They're not being tracked, they don't have the numbers because they're sinking numbers back in around their own 18-yard area.
Father Abraham has tweeted in at TalkSport Live, predicting a 3-1 win in the end for this game for Arsenal.
Is he feeling compassionate, giving Burnley a consolation goal? It's Christmas, they can have a goal, but we're still winning 3-1.
He also thinks Man United will win 4-0 under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Cardiff. That is one of our other featured games later, 3 o'clock UK time in just over 2 hours. It's Chelsea against Leicester, then we bring you Cardiff against Manchester United at 5:30 UK time. Arsenal give the ball away again. Maitland-Niles struggling up against Cork. Strong header clear from Monreal. Shot from distance was powerfully struck. Phil Bardsley, the right wing back, having a pop, the former Man United man, from distance. It was sweetly struck off Monreal again. Back now to halfway. Monreal might not be a regulation centre half, but that was a very decent interception. Burnley tried to keep the ball in play through Taylor, but they've given it away in the process. Lacazette to Ozil. Was Ozil upended? The answer is no. No foul by me on Mesut Ozil. He's not happy. The fans aren't happy, but it was right in front of the referee.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it wasn't a foul just because it was in front of the referee. Just safe. And it did look as if me did have a little drag round Ozil's neck, and Ozil at the moment having a quiet word with the referee.
Well, he's frustrated because there's then been a foul at the other end where Lacazette's brought down one of the Burnley players, so the free kick's now gone Burnley's way. As we look at the replay, was Ozil fouled? I'm not sure,
Bumps into him, doesn't he?
Went down very easy. I think he knew that he was in the wrong position.
Okay, so what part of the ball does me get? Oh, okay, none. But he barges into the back of Ozil.
Does he barge?
Yes.
I'd say the contact was a bit more minimal than that.
No, he barges him.
I think Ozil's got in the wrong position and gone down. But anyway, the referee made his call. Burnley had the free kick. They've pumped it back into the box as it's flicked on, looking for Chris Wood. Socrates with an important interception. The Greek with a long outstretched right leg. Charlie Taylor, though, wins it back for Burnley, getting there ahead of Maitland-Niles. Dangerous cross just on the penalty spot. Guendouzi half-heads it clear. Here's Cork up against El Neni. No real option to move forward, so he's forced to go back to Tarkowski, and Arsenal now just press their way out of defence and force Burnley to come back onto them. Long ball from the far side from Ashley Westwood. Just over the head of the on-rushing Burnley attackers and out of play. Decent spell that from Burnley.
It is. They just can't get that final connection to make it happen.
Hector Bellerin looking on from the crowd. Just had a big shot of him on the big screen. He's going to be out for a few weeks with another injury niggle. Chuck in no Koscielny today. No Mkhitaryan. Holding. Mavropanos. Mustafi. Fair few absent for Arsenal at the moment, as you talked about pre-match. Ozil's gone down and this time does get a free kick, by the way.
His defence decimated. They're just roughing Ozil up a little bit. Me in there again, fouling Ozil. Referee's just got to be mindful. I think that was a barge earlier on Ozil. This one you can see Ozil knows it's coming. Puts himself in there, and me doesn't even consider the ball. He's just barging into Ozil.
24 minutes played. Premier League live. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. The Gunners leading a game in the Premier League in the first half. It's a rarity. All season they've not actually led one at the break. Can they finally do so? A team in 5th to have got that stat is bizarre, quite frankly.
I know. Now and again they do.
But the best second half team in the Premier League by a string.
Yeah, and then you look at Burnley, they've conceded 8 goals in the last 10 minutes.
Including last week against Spurs.
That's the league's highest.
It most certainly is.
So, it's hard work being a Burnley player.
And also when you play quality sides as well, they've lost all 8 games against teams in the top half with an aggregate 23 goals to 4 not in their favour. 1 win in 28 against teams in the top 6. It seems to be they're very good at beating those in and around mid to lower table, particularly at home. And I guess that, if you've got a limited budget and you're being stretched, that's got to be your bread and butter.
Yeah, you always talk about beating the teams around you. It depends whether you're Manchester United or you're Burnley, or you're Manchester City or you're Liverpool. You beat the teams around you.
Xhaka, long ball over the top, headed clear by Kevin Long. Kolasinac was marauding with intent, hoping the ball might get through to him. It didn't. Burnley get it clear, and again try and make something happen further downfield. Ashley Barnes claims there was a foul off Socrates. The officials giving nothing, but it is at least a Burnley throw.
Yeah, taking their time, just giving the players, the defence, a little bit of a respite.
There was a lot of time wasting last week, wasn't there, in the Spurs game? But there again, they're drawing that when you're down in this one.
Yeah.
Not much point in running the clock down.
I think Sean Dyche will tell you it's game management rather than time wasting.
Just realign and maybe be only 1 down at the break, you mean?
No, just the fact is, you can't say time wasting, that's illegal. But game management, that's fine. So I think you're looking at
gaining composure.
Yeah, there's times now Burnley's defence need a breather because they've been under that hammer for so long. Set plays, you'd look at Burnley and say they're not going to dominate possession, but they can nick a goal from a set play. So they roll up all the big guys and make this a very, very dangerous situation.
Talking of set plays, it is Burnley's second corner of the game on the far side, which Charlie Taylor, the left wing back, will bend in. It's another dangerous looking delivery, and this time Berleno punches it clear to the edge of the penalty area. Westwood hooks the ball back in. Initially, a little bit of misunderstanding in the Arsenal ranks, but El Neni does get the ball clear, and Burnley have committed men forward, so Arsenal can maybe counter-attack. Kolasinac just snatched at the opportunity, tried to play a first-time ball to Aubameyang. I think he probably had better options there, side Kolasinac, and the ball is given away. Here at Burnley at the other end as Taylor takes the ball around Socrates. And in the end, Monreal and Maitland-Niles come swooping back, and as a 3, they win the ball back off Taylor, and Arsenal clear their line. Slight bit of a miscontrol at the back from Burnley. Long is under pressure. Lacazette and Aubameyang both snapping at the Irishman's heels. Ben Mee helps tidy up, and we're seeing collective group defending from both teams to help out a certain individual, aren't we?
We are, but also seeing the Arsenal front line being prepared to work to get the ball back as soon as possible and create even more problems for Burnley.
Bardsley on the far side as Burnley try to come again into the former Leeds and Leicester man Wood, who's been often very much the target man and the focal point of Burnley's attacks, but not so much this season where injuries have limited the New Zealand international captain's game time. He's looking pretty sharp in this match so far. He's calling for the ball in the middle as Burnley go wide instead. Mee. Little through ball was a clever one to Jeff Hendrick, but the Irishman just miscontrolled it, and as he stretched to get the ball, can he bring down Socrates? Socrates thinks so. Again, I think the referee has said not.
Socrates thinks it's a foul. It possibly is by Hendrick because he's stretching, but the ball's gone out for a goal kick, so the referee's allowed play. What's interesting is that run from Hendricks was unmarked, and it's a bit of a, so it's there, but there's a problem for Arsenal. You can't allow runs like that to go into the box unmarked, because if the pass is accurate, it's a problem.
Shout outs for Wilson Smith and Rex Anthony, both listening to us in Nigeria. Great to have you on board. And Awedo Sunday, meanwhile, thinks Arsenal will hit 4 in this game. We'll wait and see. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Maitland-Niles with a delightful 1-2 from Guendouzi. There's spaced out for the young right back who beats his man. He runs round Mee. Maitland-Niles with the cross, and that's good defending from James Tarkowski, who came across and made the block after his fellow centre-half had been beaten all ends up.
So once Taylor comes forward and loses possession, Maitland-Niles has acres of space to just push forward into, and that's the problem for Burnley. If they are losing possession in those key areas, they're setting themselves up. We'd already talked about Arsenal with Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac playing ostensibly as wingers. in Burnley's half and hardly doing any defensive work.
Approaching the half-hour mark here at Emirates Stadium on Premier League Live. It remains Arsenal 1, Burnley 0, thanks to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's 13th of the season. Burnley have blooded the Gunners' nose on a couple of occasions in the game, but no more, whereas Arsenal has so far struck the decisive blow, and they are on the attack again. Guendouzi to Ozil, who's got options left and right. The option on the right is Lacazette. We thought about the first-time cross. He cuts in field instead, and a little Rabona-style cross there. One foot over the other. Didn't actually hit his man, but that was very impressive. Or was that arrogant? Or a bit of both?
A bit of both. Normally don't see that until about 4 or 5 mil.
Rabona cross from near the corner flag.
I'll take it. I'll take that. Stick a bow on it. That's a gift.
Right foot under left and effectively back heels the ball into the penalty area.
If you don't think your left foot's good enough, then do that.
Fans loved it, I've got to say. Whether or not Burnley will feel that that's showboating and a little bit of disrespect. Don't forget Arsenal, of course, were accused of disrespect by the Spurs fraternity for the way they celebrated the Premier League North London derby win. Then when you get to the Carabao Cup, Danny Rose says, karma, that we've beaten you boys. I don't know if perhaps Arsenal maybe need to rein it in a tiny bit. I don't know. Anyway, through ball, we'll come back to that. Aubameyang to Elneny, late offside flag on the far side. Do Arsenal rub it in a bit, or is it a case of a team that's been in the doldrums relatively for a while, enjoying being back in the big time?
It's a North London derby. The rules are, there are no rules.
This isn't though, when you're doing the bonus half an hour in.
You know what? I'd always tell a player, if you're in an attacking situation in the 18-yard area, I want to see you express yourself. Don't be doing it in ours, because that's not good for me. But do it in theirs, cool. And if that's it, that's it. If you don't feel good enough with your left foot and you can work it like that with the Rabona on your right, do it.
Warren B has tweeted in at TalkSport Live. He's driving from Columbia, Missouri to Denver listening to us. Nice little picture there of the sun just starting to peek its head up crossing the States.
Safe travels.
Warren, appreciate your time wherever you're listening to us around the world. It's great to have your company at TalkSport Live. Franklin saying keep up the good work, guys. Enjoying the commentary. We appreciate that. Well, Brian Bailey is listening from Montgomery, Alabama. Predicting an Arsenal win, but hoping Burnley go toe-to-toe and make it a good listen. Well, I think so far, Brian, that is exactly what's happened. You've been to Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been to Talladega. Big NASCAR fan, you see. So I've been there and done the tour. That was awesome.
No turning right then for you.
Absolutely not.
Montgomery, Alabama. Yes, I do know that place.
Arsenal 1 Burnley.
Season's greetings, sir.
To all our listeners around the world, we really appreciate you at this festive time of year where the football is non-stop, and we love it on Premier League Live. 33 played. Gunners 1, Clarets 0. And remember, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend, subscribe to the TalkSport Premier League Preview Show podcast. It's out every Thursday, which will set you up nicely for what lies ahead. We've had Liverpool win at Wolves this weekend already in Friday night football. Arsenal trying to set the tone for the Saturday games. Nacho Monreal from deep in his own half, quarterback style from the pocket, bangs one over the top looking for either Ozil or Lacazette. Not a million miles away, but Joe Hart's there to the edge of his box to make the interception.
I don't think the NFL will be on the phone after that pass. Just say that much.
Hart with a long ball downfield, and it's a good delivery actually, looking for Ashley Barnes. Kolasinac beats him temporarily before Burnley get to that secondary ball first again, not the first time in the game. Long's ball over the top, looking for Chris Wood, asking too much for the Kiwi that time, and Monreal is happy to see the ball trickle out of play. Remember, we've got a couple of other commentary games to bring you later. John Anderson and Paul Parker, Chelsea, Leicester City at 3 UK time in just under 2 hours time, and at 5:30, so in about 4.5 hours time, Tom Rennie and Reece Weston in the hot seat for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge of Manchester United at Cardiff City.
The game's just taken a lull as far as Arsenal are concerned. In other words, the tempo has just dropped, and Burnley don't have a mind. Oops,
there's a bit of a tussle on this near side. Socrates, and I think it's Barnes, and this is actually boiling over now. It is Socrates and Barnes, and it was initially a tussle for the ball for the throw, and then it really went a bit sour, and now 7 or 8 players are involved, 4 from each team. People are pushing, shoving. It's all got a bit nasty.
Well, if one of those steel chairs gets thrown on, we know it's WWF. Right? It's quite simple as that. It got, hey, steel kicking it in front of the referee.
Now we've got another one on the far side. Kolasinac and Cork with a little bit of a shove. They're now hugging and having a smile. Hendrick and Jack are on the near side.
Yeah,
Westwood and Maitland-Niles are having a little shove. Lots of little pushes going on.
Yeah, the referee's going to let them push themselves out and then sit down and go, right, you have one of these, you have one of these, it's Christmas, it's time for a card.
Will there be any cards?
Yeah,
I guess the two early instigators are Socrates and Barnes. They're now being called across by referee Kevin Friend. They're trying to make friends now, or Socrates is, but Barnes is having none of it. He's not happy.
Referee will decide.
He's telling everybody else to leave them alone. Everyone else being called away. Ben Mee has stayed in and around the ref, as has Mesut Ozil. They're the skippers. I guess that's fair enough. So the two skippers and the two initial instigators of the incident are still being spoken to by referee Kevin Friend. I wonder if we're not going to see any yellow cards. If he's going to say,
be interesting.
Cut it out from here, boys.
If he manages like that, then all right, so there's a bit of a scribble going on.
We do see one yellow card to Barnes and not to Socrates. Take a look at the replay on the big screen. Socrates tries to run the ball out of play. He is shoved by Barnes. Socrates then kind of falls on Barnes, who grabs him by the neck.
It becomes wrestling. It becomes silly.
They do have a proper wrestle.
It's silly.
Proper wrestle. It's like my two toddlers, that is.
It is.
That's what they were doing this morning before I came over here.
And did you tell them to grow up?
I just left them to it for a bit, to be honest. Put coffee on. Only joking.
I'd like to introduce you to Russell Hargreaves, Parent of the Year 2018. What do you do when your kids argue with each other? Oh, put some coffee in.
36 minutes gone. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. Nacho Monreal is being substituted. He has been hobbling a tiny bit for the last couple of minutes, Monreal. He's come off, and Stefan Lichtsteiner, the Swiss veteran, and of course with so much experience from his time at Juventus, he is on.
I know, but
well, they're both similar. I know that one's left and one's right, but they're both right backs who can play on the far extremity of a back three, but not really as centre halves.
He's going to sit in there as a central defender.
Yeah. Unless, of course, Arsenal do now pull either El Neni or Xhaka back, because both of them can play at the back if necessary as well. Xhaka, to me, has taken a role now that's slightly more defensive. It'll be interesting to see if they realign and put Xhaka into the back line.
So, Lichtsteiner at right back. All right.
Maitland-Niles has pushed further forward now.
Yes. And whether they've gone to a back
four of Xhaka at left back, potentially. It's really hard to see, isn't it? Or is it a back three? Well, we'll work out in a minute.
I think it might be a three which releases players into midfield.
Well, that's what Arsenal have done the majority of games in recent weeks.
Yeah, we talked about this before the game. What's the formation? Well, it doesn't really matter what formation they start with, because there will be a certain point in the first half, depending on the scoreline, where that formation will be intentionally changed by Unai Emery.
So Lichtsteiner on, Monreal off, and Arsenal realigning at the back. And at the moment, it's Xhaka, Lichtsteiner, and Socrates standing as a back three.
Lichtsteiner coming on has meant that Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles are going to play in a far more advanced position, if that's possible, than they already have.
So effectively we're back to more like the formation that we saw in the 3-2 defeat to Southampton, though the personnel are clearly rotated. Bang on halfway. We've played 38 minutes. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. The Clarets back in possession, trying to make the most of that upheaval in the Arsenal defence. Ball over the top, looking for Wood, is overhit, and Xhaka from his new position at the back just shepherds the ball back as far as Burnley. I saw Xhaka play as a left back to help them out in the Europa League game earlier this season with mixed success. He's not quite doing that in this game.
It's not a left back position.
This probably suits him better, actually, because he's not pushed out as wide and expected to cross.
No. He's going to be playing as a back three.
Exactly.
So Socrates is the central pivot of the back three, with Lichtsteiner and Xhaka either side of him. That allows players to push forward. What it does mean is Leno is going to have to be very proactive in the edge of his 18-yard area, because Burnley are going to launch more direct balls in for Woods.
Here's Charlie Taylor down the left-hand side for Burnley, running up against Maitland-Niles. They've had a fascinating one-on-one, the two youngsters in the game so far, and on this occasion, Maitland-Niles, who at times has struggled up against Taylor, Taylor stands his ground very well there, but just shepherds the ball back, and Arsenal win it back. He is quick.
And
He's a good player.
And so is Maitland-Niles, both quick and a good player. So it's a nice little one-on-one cameo that you find in games. Just to you know, if you're bored with all the passing and goal-scoring chances, that little cameo between those two is one to keep an eye on.
Prince A13 tweeting in, he's not missed a moment of the excitement, saying thank you and Merry Christmas. Same to you. On Zubrel Daniel says Arsenal should please win the game. I hope so, because I've got money at stake. Listening from Nigeria. Zuburu, hopefully you'll be a rich man by the end of the game.
Your attention.
Absolutely. Here come Arsenal, ticking toward 40 minutes on Premier League Live. They still lead 1-0 courtesy of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, rejigging their team. And the Gunners win it back slightly fortuitously through Guendouzi to Aubameyang, who plays the ball out to Lacazette, nearly gets there. Kevin Long with an excellent interception, had to get there just ahead of Lacazette, and did so as Burnley tried to counter-attack. Same two players, Socrates and Barnes. Socrates drags down his man. Barnes thought about having a little kick out there, but he's on a yellow card. Surely Socrates will go into the book. The Arsenal player saying that Barnes just kicked out at Socrates on the floor.
The referee's going to decide what he wants to do.
There's another big jostle now. Four players from each team piling in again.
Socrates may have outstayed his welcome as far as the referee's concerned.
This is not the season of goodwill so far, is it, this game?
Oh, you've been waiting to say that, haven't you? You've been desperate to say that all game.
I was thinking about it when my toddlers were wrestling, you see.
Yeah. Current of the year. Let's see. There is a card in the left hand.
Got to be at least a yellow card, surely, for Socrates here for bringing down his man, because he's tugging at Barnes, all ends up as Barnes tries to break clear and counter.
Yeah, Socrates is most likely going to get a yellow. It's whether or not, and look, Sean Dyche is doing a number on the fourth official, and it's whether or not the referee has seen, or either the officials have seen, any kick out from...
So Socrates goes into the book as we look at the replay. Here's the tug, and the moment I'm talking about is just there.
No, there's no kicking out there. No, he's standing up just to see if Socrates...
He's having to restrain himself. You can see he's very frustrated.
Oh, yeah, he's still living the moment down on the touchline when they have a wrestling match. And that's the problem, when a player gets stuck in that moment and he can't let it go.
So Socrates goes into the book, as his adversary Barnes had earlier in the half after, as you mentioned there, that little tussle on the touchline. This one's in the middle of the park. Yellow card. Burnley, just on the edge of the centre circle, have the free kick. Ben Mee flicks it over the top. Burnley just get that horribly wrong. Mee overhits it. No Burnley runners start their runs in time, and it's straight through to Bernd Leno.
Yeah, needed a more subtle touch from Mee on that one, but as is. And set plays, as we touched on before, are a ready-made route for a team like Burnley, because they possess quite a large group of players in terms of size.
91% passing accuracy for Arsenal in the game so far compared to 72 for Burnley, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that. It seems that both teams have had moments where they've gelled and attacked brilliantly, and others where, as you say, they've kind of been a bit flat and a bit disjointed. It's been a kind of lopsided half in that sense for me.
First 10 minutes or so, Arsenal's passing was not bad, but more erratic than I would imagine Unai Emery would want to. They gave away possession quite cheaply.
Here come Burnley again. Ben Mee infield to Wood, tries to offload to Barnes. The ball falls to Ashley Westwood out to the far side. Phil Bardsley keeps it in. Aubameyang is back helping out defensively with 2.5 minutes to go till half time, plus time added on here on Premier League Live. Again, Arsenal press and try and push Burnley back. Lacazette putting Tarkowski under pressure. He found Mee infield to Taylor. Unai Emery's off from his dugout to the edge of his technical area, barking instructions out. Harry saying that Barnes had made an excellent run and wasn't spotted. This time they go central. Wood flicks it on, looking for Barnes. Nearly an own goal from Arsenal there, but Leno saves it just under his bar. I don't think it was quite as dramatic as we first feared, but the Gunners with a shot on target at the other end, the wrong end.
A header on target from Xhaka. I don't know if he wants to claim that as a stat for himself, even though it's going out his own goal. Just that run from Ashley Barnes, if it was spotted early, he was on an onside position. By the time Taylor gets his head up, he's offside, so it doesn't play.
With the ball flicked forward looking for Wood, who's been a real physical aerial threat throughout this game. Arsenal with only one recognised centre-half available in the squad in Socrates. Everybody else are makeshift midfielders or fullbacks playing at the back. Wood tries to exploit at the far end now. Ozil is down, he's been fouled by Bardsley. A slightly toxic game in terms of its atmosphere. Doesn't take another twist, because this time Ozil and Bardsley just sensibly shake hands and get on with it, and there's no petty shoving. I like that.
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure how much contact is made by Bardsley, but enough for Ozil to convince the referee it was a foul. Just watching Burnley's style of play, it can be at times quite direct, up to Woods or up to Barnes, and when that second ball, the header, drops down, Burnley, because they're keeping so many players back, don't have the chance to link up. So that ball is invariably being won by an Arsenal player, and that attack comes straight back at them.
Awful touch by Ben Mee, who had acres of space and gave the ball away. He's left an aching gap as well. Here's Maitland-Niles to Lacazette. Chance for number 2. Lacazette upended with a brilliant tackle from Kevin Long, who came across and just made a super interception. Awful touch from Mee. Arsenal on it in a heartbeat. Long saved Burnley's blushes there, no question.
This tackle by Long, as a defender, it's a pleasure to see, because Lacazette, you touch him in the wrong way, that's a penalty. He just wraps his left boot, just pokes it, doesn't try and clatter the striker, just pokes it away from his toes. Great move by Arsenal. Beautiful defending from Long.
2 additional minutes. We've just seen on the big screen here at Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. You're listening to Premier League Live. Justified and Hussein Aid both listening to us from Lagos. Appreciate you being with us, guys. Wherever you're listening around the world, keep your tweets coming in at TalkSport Live. Oneka Anthony saying Aubameyang is a man on fire, with 5 little explosion emojis after that goal.
Yeah,
I think that's a good way to describe it.
I'd agree with that. He is not unstoppable, but very much a man on form.
He is a quality operator, no question, and his goal, just under a quarter of an hour in, is the difference between the sides. Tarkowski for once is dispossessed. He's been outstanding in recent weeks on his return after injury. He, though, loses the ball. Ozil, with a nice bit of vision, plays the ball from right to left as Arsenal switch the passage of play. Kolasinac in field to Elneny. One or two groans from the fans who feel that maybe Kolasinac could have gone further forward with that pass. It's rare that Sead Kolasinac is accused of not being attacking enough, but as it is, with just barely a minute to go till half-time, Arsenal may be content to just take the sting out of the game and run down the clock attack. Xhaka over the top, looking for Aubameyang. That one's cut out. Bardsley with a neat turn, beats Kolasinac, finds the excellent Jack Cork. Cork turns Guendouzi. Left-footed finds Wood. Nice offload from Wood. Did Lichtsteiner foul him? Maybe, but the referee plays advantage. Here's Charlie Taylor back up against Maitland-Niles. Early cross from Taylor. Leno should get there. Taylor there, I think, making the wrong decision.
I would agree. He's got the pace to move that ball forward and wider and wrap his boot around it. I mean, hanging it up that deep and that high can only favour Leno in the Arsenal goal.
Scott Stonebridge saying that assists are in Mesut Ozil's DNA. Gotta love your football. Scott, I would agree. When Ozil's on it, he can be an absolute force to be reckoned with. And it's his assist, in the conjunction with Kolasinac, that freed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to score the only goal of the first half, as the whistle to end the first 45 blows here at Emirates Stadium. Burnley have certainly played their part as they desperately bid to haul themselves out of the bottom 3. But Arsenal, looking to get back to winning ways themselves, have done 50% of the job, and for the first time this season they lead in the Premier League at the break. Premier League Live, it's Arsenal 1, Burnley 0.
I'd like to take some real Italian coffee, please.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Eriksen just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
You're listening to Premier League Live. At the break in our featured commentary game, Arsenal leading Burnley by 1-0. Here's a reminder of how the first 45 minutes played out. Nice little 1-2 between Kolasinac and Ozil. Here's Lacazette, bending ball to Aubameyang, screaming for it. It's Maitland-Niles who shoots it, saves. Aubameyang tries to follow up and it's hacked clear. Lovely move from Arsenal. Lightning start to the game. Here they come. Shot just wide. Wonderful effort from Ashley Barnes, who took the ball on, slipped as he tried to shoot. At both ends, we've come very close. Here's Ozil. Lovely through ball. So close to the opening goal. And it is scored eventually by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It had to come. Ozil's through ball. Flicked back in field. And Aubameyang with the outside of his right boot calmly and classily guides the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of the net. Hart couldn't get there. And it's Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. And that was kind of the real glut of the game, wasn't it? We had those 3 chances, including the goal, all in the space of about 90 seconds, between about sort of minutes 13 and 15.
Yeah, they turned up the heat, and Burnley, we were thinking that they'd replicate what they did last week against Spurs and hold on, but they crack inside like the 15th minute. And that was the problem there for Arsenal. From then on, they just seemed to cruise into half-time, not looking to take Burnley out of the game completely. At 1-0, you're vulnerable to a Burnley set play. You're vulnerable to your centre-half Socrates being sent off for a silly challenge, which he looks like he's got in him, and now he's on a yellow card. Could quite easily happen.
It's going to be very interesting to see how the second half pans out at TalkSport Live. Keep your comments coming in. Tim Schwartz is listening to us driving from Washington, D.C. to Florida, saying a touch of class from Mesut Ozil, go Gunners.
That's a long drive, by the way.
It is a fair drive. Yeah,
that is
going through about 7 or 8 states minimum there, aren't you? Ian Evans enjoying the show, guys. It's cold and wet. I'm listening in Zurich in Switzerland. Ian, good to have you with us. Sean Pease with us from New York, which is of course where you spent much of the year. Very, very nice. And Robin Michael Tom's regular listener says greetings from a very hot Brazil, 39 degrees C. As he listens to us, he says, "'Tis the season of goodwill to all. Come on, Burnley, but please play fair." And as Robin says, play fair. It's been niggly, hasn't it, at times?
Yeah, well, that's kind of Burnley's style. They do niggle. They do try and take you away from your game. Fair enough. It's in the rules. You can do. Nothing to say you can't niggle an opponent from time to time. It's how you deal with it.
Poor man Alfred is saying 2 goals from Lacazette in the second half, and he's predicting a thrilling 3-3 draw.
Wow.
You'd get good odds on that at this point, wouldn't you?
You would get pretty good odds for that. It's not impossible, but I say at the moment it's looking unlikely.
Just now for one more, Philip Cujo, Arsenal to win 4-0 from Accra in Ghana. Phil, I think that's probably more likely, but we'll wait and see how it pans out. At TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Now, our next featured commentary game is Chelsea versus Leicester City. That'll be kicking off in just over an hour and a half's time at 3 o'clock UK time in the very esteemed company of John Anderson and Paul Parker. Let's hear from the two managers involved in that one, Maurizio Sarri and they, under pressure, Claude Puel.
I think that at the moment we need only to think about this match, because we have to play against dangerous opponents. They are a technical team, but inside there are 2-3 players very fast. So they are a mix very, very dangerous. We need to think only about this match, because we need, I think, a good performance to gain 3 points.
It will be a good challenge, of course, to play against Chelsea. After it will be another time against City. Of course, the player like to play this game in a level, and of course we need to have a collective response. And I think with our mentality, we show this mentality against City. We can make a strong game, good performance, and I hope a good result.
Claude Puel, the Leicester manager, the second voice you heard there on the back of the Italian who's in charge of Chelsea these days, Maurizio Sarri. Chelsea, on the whole, very impressive. One little dip that maybe they're kind of readdressing themselves from. Leicester, it's been another hit and miss bits and pieces season, hasn't it? And renewed reports in the last day or so that Claude Puel is maybe again a game away from being sacked.
It was the reports that were going to sack him after the second game of the season. So he's been sitting there waiting for the knock on the door or the phone call, so he's probably used to it now.
That can't help a club though, can it? If you've got a manager who's perpetually on the verge of going.
No, it can't help the group, coaching staff, players, everybody. So it's interesting to see. But Sarri, I'm pleased to say Sarri came in, and I wondered whether it would be 2, 3, maybe even 4 months before you saw his side give you the kind of football that he wanted, but it came online much sooner, and I have to say congratulations to both him, his coaching staff and the players for delivering upon his vision so quickly. And when they're on form, as we saw against Manchester City just recently, they can deliver.
So Chelsea, Leicester City at 3 o'clock UK is our next featured commentary game on Premier League Live, and it's Cardiff against Manchester United at 5:30 UK, so in just over 4 hours time. That's Tom Rennie and Reece Weston as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer takes charge of the Red Devils for the first time against the club he formerly managed. And just a reminder, the other 3 o'clock kickoffs that'll be off in just over an hour and a half, and all the details of the goals as they fly in here on Premier League Live. Bournemouth against Brighton, Huddersfield versus Southampton, Manchester City in second, hoping to close the gap to Liverpool after their win at Wolves last night. They're at home to Crystal Palace. It's also Newcastle versus Fulham, West Ham versus Watford, and then tomorrow, one game on Sunday, and that's Everton versus Spurs, which will be the last Premier League game, of course, before Christmas. Looking forward to the festive season?
Yes. As always.
Last time of year, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I made my debut on Boxing Day for Tottenham as a 19-year-old, so it's always held a special moment in my life, Christmas and things like that. So there you go. Many, many centuries ago, I can hear a producer laughing somewhere in the background.
It's Tom Rennie.
It is,
He's getting ready for heading up for his game later. It's always Tom Rennie. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. We'll hear plenty more from the man who starred over the years for Spurs, Brighton and Crystal Palace, Gary O'Reilly, in the second half of our game. We're at Emirates Stadium as you gear up for the second 45 minutes as Arsenal, at the break, lead Burnley by 1-0 on Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available.
Once runners, there's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? One chance, one goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
Listening to TalkSport's coverage of Arsenal against Burnley from Emirates Stadium. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, alongside with the former Tottenham, Brighton and Crystal Palace defender Gary O'Reilly. And this is Premier League Live as we prepare for the second half, and Slade blurting out "This is for me," one of the couple of best Christmas songs out there, I think, just sets the tone for me quite nicely.
This is the total debate for the second half if we go down that road. I'm just thinking, what could Sean Dyche have said to his team at half-time? Well, this is what we expected. We can find our way back into this because they've gone 1-0 up and then kind of laying down tools. And it's a bit like during the season, you're expecting a team to change rhythm immediately. Same within a game. It's different if you get set into a rhythm of play and a pattern of play to change that. And Arsenal seem to have gone into a bit of a lull towards the end of the first half. Now, if they can change it and come out in the second half, like they have done so many times this season, it'll be interesting to see how they deliver on more goals. But I think Burnley will be looking just to let Arsenal come onto them, counter-attack them, and then work off a set play.
We're back underway here on Premier League Live. Arsenal forced to make one change during the first 45 minutes, and they lead courtesy of that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang strike. Burnley, as far as we can surmise, unchanged for the second half, and so Burnley in their all-black with a tiny bit of white trim away kit, and they're kicking from left to right in the second half as they poke the ball over the top, looking for Chris Wood. Leno's come out of his area. The ball is going to be lofted just over the bar. Leno's down and injured, Wood is down and injured, and the whistle had blown because of a potential head injury regardless. But great ball over the top from Tarkowski, moments into the second half. Wood ghosting in behind Granit Xhaka, and Wood and Leno colliding, and both down and in some pain.
Yeah, what we said when the formation changed and Lichtsteiner came on, Monreal went off in the first half, is that Leno's going to have to patrol the edge of his 18-yard area with a lot of intelligence because of the direct play, and you saw it. Tarkowski's one ball bounces on the edge of the 18-yard area, and Leno's got to come out and dominate that position. So just mindful there. They can unlock you with one simple pass, Burnley, and Leno's got to be prepared to come out and do that again and again.
Avi Xhaka in that back three now. It's not his natural position, and he just didn't react as quickly as perhaps a natural centre-half would when the ball was played over the top.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes you can, as a player, if you're not familiar with sitting in that position, you kind of get trapped in the headlights a little bit watching that ball and you don't react. That's when the teammates around you start to break into your concentration, say move, get yourself back in here to get yourself into position.
So Chris Wood making a nuisance of himself once more, and the ball's given away by Arsenal, and here come Burnley once more. Another promising move from the Clarets, who started the second half like an absolute house on fire. It's Jeff Hendrick who won the ball and came charging in. By the way, Wood has been yellow carded for the foul effectively on Leno, as both went for the ball. I can see it, he did just catch him with his foot, but he was clearly going for the ball, the Kiwi. So a yellow card. Arsenal give the ball away from the free kick to Hendrick. He's not too far away, and Burnley are on the attack once more. Ashley Westwood from the far side bends in the cross. Ozil gives the ball away. Jack Cork tries to get a shot in. El Neni wins the ball back. It's scrappy stuff, but Arsenal have been concerning in the opening couple of minutes of the second half. They now win the ball though and counter-attack themselves. Kolasinac in field to Lacazette. Ozil steps over it to Aubameyang, who thinks about the shot. Oh, it's a rocket into the roof of the net from the outstanding Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It's his second of the game. It's his 14th of the season, and it's Arsenal 2, Burnley 0.
That is vicious from Aubameyang. I mean, that is in the back of the net with so much meaning. Arsenal nearly, but they do. Ozil gives the ball away at the edge of the 18-yard area. Guendouzi sees this pass, just drops it in for Kolasinac. He then does what he's done all game, rampage down the left-hand side. It moves across to Aubameyang. Ozil's inside. He's keeping the defender just a little bit off him because he's run inside, just maybe catches his eye. What Aubameyang does here is give Joe Hart no chance because it's in the near post top corner, but it's so quick. Joe Hart's got no chance whatsoever of stopping it.
There may have been an absolute sliver of a deflection off Ben Mee. I think it's irrelevant that the ball was still on target and still rocketing past Joe Hart. I think it did take the weeniest of deflections off Ben Mee's knee. It doesn't, for me though, detract, if that is the case, from, as you say, the ferocity and the clinical nature of the strike.
It is what will anger Sean Dyche is they've been done on a counter-attack, because Sean sets his team up for organisation as a defensive unit, and there you are looking at him torn apart with one direct pass from Guendouzi into Kolasinac, and then they're undone, and Arsenal have pushed forward the numbers, but they've given them a 2-goal lead.
Incredible. Burnley starting the second half brilliantly with Barnes, Wood, Hendrick, Cork, Westwood all up there and making a nuisance of themselves. That's Burnley's 5 effectively non-defenders or keeper all pushing forward and then penalised brutally by Arsenal. And now Mathieu Guendouzi is down, holding his right hip. He's in some pain.
And he got a little tangle with our friend Mr. Barnes.
Barnes goes up for the ball. His eye is on the ball, but he does clatter into the man, into Guendouzi as he lands. And it's his left elbow almost onto the neck of Guendouzi, who then falls onto his back.
Yeah, both of them get caught up. Both of them seem to be in pain. We can see on our monitor in front of us. Just an untidy challenge. And I'm sure the referee can see a great deal of malice in there, but just an untidy challenge.
Almost 50 played. You're listening to Premier League Live. Welcome wherever you're listening around the world. It's brilliant to have your company at this festive time of year. Last game before Christmas for both Arsenal and Burnley. And thanks to the brilliance of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Arsenal lead the Clarets by 2-0. Cal Ali H. Jesse, regular tweets in at TalkSport Live, agreeing that I should be Parent of the Year. Well said, Cal Ali. Also saying from Mukono in Uganda that I hope this game doesn't slow down in the second half. And you know what? It hasn't. The first 5 minutes of this second half have been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley came out with an intention. I'm just wondering now with this second goal whether that intention just got stamped on Aubameyang. You're just looking at it and you're saying to yourself, that Arsenal striker is 1 goal away from the very obvious, a hat-trick. And
how sweet would that be?
And do strikers like scoring goals? Do they like 3 goals in a game? Absolutely love them. And I guess he'll be looking very much to wrap that up just in time for the festive period.
Aubameyang almost gets onto one as Burnley try to clear their lines, and in the end a combination of Tarkowski and me just about get the job done. Guendouzi is back onto the field, and now Ainsley Maitland-Niles is down, having taken a knock to his leg, and he's only just back, of course, from a broken leg. It was a hairline fracture that kept him out for several weeks. I know he's been back long enough, I'm sure, to be over that, but there's always a minor concern in the Arsenal fraternity whenever Maitland-Niles goes down.
He's gone up for a header and he's landed on one foot, and maybe that's jarred something, and you are overly sensitised as a player coming back from a long-term injury to anything that might affect that part of your body.
He's back up and he takes the throw, so I think we can safely say Maitland-Niles is okay. Aubameyang into possession to Guendouzi, showing no ill effects of his injury, but his pass is not the best. It's intercepted by Bardsley, who gets there just ahead of Kolasinac, but Westwood gives the ball away to Granit Xhaka, now an auxiliary centre-half in a three-man Arsenal defence. The man who came on for the injured Nacho Monreal in the first half, Stefan Lichtsteiner, plays the ball back to Socrates. So we'll just run through the lineups. It's Leno, Maitland-Niles, Socrates, Kolasinac, Guendouzi, Neni, Ozil, Xhaka, Lacazette, Aubameyang and Lichtsteiner now for Arsenal. For Burnley, Hart, Bardsley, Young, Long, Tarkowski, me and Taylor, Westwood, Cork, Hendrick, Barnes and Wood.
It's interesting now, Burnley have gone to a higher press. Look, with balls with Leno in the 18-yard area, there are 4 Burnley players pushing within 25 yards. So that's a different tactic from Sean Dyche for his team this second half.
Just trying to make something happen with this poor record away from home and this poor record against teams in the top 6 and indeed the top half of the Premier League. And it looks for all the world as if all of those stats will continue. Burnley 18th in the standings, Arsenal 5th. They would go level on points with 4th for a few hours at least if they can get back to winning ways. And win for an 11th time in the Premier League this season. Lovely touch from Elneny, who plays the ball over the top of Taylor. Taylor is then quickly back to win the ball back off Mesut Ozil. It's a slightly under-hit pass back to Joe Hart. The former England stopper gets there ahead of Alexandre Lacazette and smacks the ball downfield. Arsenal pick it back up midway inside their own half on the far stand side. Lichtsteiner to Maitland-Niles to Socrates to Xhaka. Ripple of applause for a nice, slick, quick passing move. Xhaka over the top, looking for Kolasinac. One thing you do get from Xhaka playing in the back three is he can ping those trademark passes.
He can. They just have to be a little bit more accurate than that one. Kolasinac may be quick, but he's no Usain Bolt. And he's going to need to be with passes like that. Just watching now with Burnley, the way they've gone to, use a basketball analogy, a more full court press.
Right.
So they're pressing higher up the field, they're putting Arsenal's back line, back three under pressure. And we saw in the early stages of the first half, in the first 12 minutes, 10 minutes or so, that Arsenal were capable of giving the ball away. And I'm thinking that's maybe what Sean Dyche is doing, trying to stress that with those players who aren't playing in natural position. Xhaka on a left-sided area, and of course Lichtsteiner there.
And Lacazette is adjudged to have fouled this man. He's frustrated. He was up against Tarkowski. He rounded Tarkowski on the edge of the D. The defender went down under a tiny bit of physical pressure. Let's just take a look as to whether or not that's a fair call. It probably is, because he's kind of got his arm wrapped around Tarkowski's shoulder, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think Tarkowski will be a little bit upset by the fact that he's got Lacazette knocking him around physically, and then Lacazette doesn't make himself any favours just by holding onto his arm. I think had he not done that, the defender was going to ground anyway, could have skipped away.
Approaching 55 minutes played on Premier League Live. It's Arsenal 2, Burnley 0. And having won that free kick, Arsenal then gave the ball away and conceded a free kick of their own. So it's Burnley with a set piece, about 30-35 yards out on the far side.
Yes, and on an angle, and that means you get a cross in there. If you take the goalkeeper out of the equation, you've got a chance of getting a Burnley player on it.
It's either going to be a right-footed delivery from Ashley Westwood or left-footed from Charlie Taylor. It's Taylor who jigs it in. Chris Wood, oh, fantastic tackle from Socrates. Arsenal got their offside line completely wrong there. And Chris Wood tried to get his shot away, slightly miscontrolled the first touch as he tried to make amends with the second. There was a fine interception, and for me, there was one player at least offside, and that's why Arsenal are unhappy. Ashley Barnes, I think, was offside, but nothing seemed to be given, and it's a corner.
I'd say 5.
Definitely one by a long way.
5 players offside.
Wow. Westwood's delivery, knees up there, Tarkowski's up there, Wood's up there. Arsenal get it half clear. Acrobatically, Jack Cork keeps the ball in play. Cross shot comes in, Kolasinac gets it clear, and Arsenal now just calm things down before they try to send another counter-attack. Arsenal perhaps hard done to, with one for sure and maybe up to 5 Burnley players offside. Nothing was awarded, and there's now Barnes stood on Guendouzi on the floor. He's walking a tightrope here, Barnes.
What he's done is put his foot on the ball when it's in Guendouzi's body. I agree with you. That's a fine line to tread. Referees let him get away with it, but there's definitely a push in there by Kolasinac
on Shane Long, Kevin Long. Sorry,
there's 2 hands in the back. I mean, Long makes the most of it, but
so that's from the corner that should never have been. I don't know. Does he touch the ball, or does he miss the ball and actually put his studs on his chest?
No, he goes for the ball, because, look, Guendouzi puts his hand on the ball.
But I don't think he actually makes contact with the ball. That's my point. He misses it.
We didn't see a camera angle that gave us a conclusive.
It was a bit niggly again, I certainly have to say. Barnes on Guendouzi. After just before that, we'd seen Long shoved in the back in the penalty area from the corner that shouldn't have been by Sead Kolasinac. And we've got talking points left, right and centre. A potential Burnley penalty from the wrong decision from the free kick. And at the other end, does Barnes, already on a yellow card after his double clash with Socrates, stand on Guendouzi when Guendouzi's lying on the floor holding the ball?
You don't know if he stands on Guendouzi. I think he goes and gets his foot on the ball because he thinks Guendouzi is holding on to it.
Certainly goes to do that. Where the initial contact was, we're not sure. Shot from distance, by the way, from miles out from Barnes is over the bar, and we get some ironic cheers. We're going to get another view here. Where does he step?
On the ball. Because if you watch that replay, Guendouzi doesn't flinch when the foot goes onto the ball, because if it hits his body, he's going to flinch. You'll see it on his face. There's no reaction.
Aubameyang looking for Lacazette as the two intertwine beautifully. Lacazette gets there to the secondary ball ahead of Ben Mee. Was he upended by Tarkowski? The answer is no. Tarkowski's frustrated that Lacazette went down right in front of the ref. No appeals really for a penalty. And what appeals there are are waved away. And now Guendouzi at the other end is shaking his hand at the referee, and he's about to go in the book.
Got feisty. Yeah. It's proper midfield action.
The Guendouzi,
the ball is squirting around.
Up against Wood initially, then he's up against Hendrick, and he gets there just after the ball and takes Hendrick's standing leg, and the Irishman goes down. Guendouzi, having been perhaps the injured party a moment ago, now no question, brings down his opponent in midfield and gets yellow carded. It's all happening as Mohamed Elneny is the next player to be substituted in the game. The Egyptian international, first Premier League star, has put in a decent shift and grown into the game, I think we can safely say. Off he goes to a decent reception, but there is a rapturous reception for Arsenal's new fan favourite, the outstanding Lucas Torreira.
Yes, we like him. We like him a lot. I just
got a song already.
Has he?
It's not bad. It's 3 months in.
Is it by Slade?
No, it's Torreira. Comes from Uruguay. He's only 5'5". It's one of those, but he's a very, very good player.
Sounds a classic.
Arsenal now counter-attacking as Aubameyang been brought down by Ben Mee. He has Ozil, Lacazette and Aubameyang all charging forward at pace, and Mee, I think, knew that and just brought down his man on the near stand side. And Ben Mee is about to go into the book for a foul on Emerick Aubameyang.
Yeah, he sticks that left knee out, makes sure that there's no way the ball and Aubameyang go past at the same time.
Guendouzi's down again.
Yeah, he might have got caught earlier on.
Let's have a look. He's caught by Cork.
He does, yeah.
Jack Cork, I think, maybe going for the ball, but he steps on Mathieu Guendouzi, and at the other end, Aubameyang is cutting inside on his right foot from the left. He's certainly got Lacazette inside him, and possibly Ozil, and Mee just brings him down.
Yeah, Cork gets a card for that challenge on Guendouzi.
I think rightly so.
Yeah, what's happening in midfield is when the ball is getting pinballed around between everybody and people aren't in control, these sort of challenges are going to happen. So someone's got to exercise the control on the ball, not give possession away. Your touch has to be better. Therefore, these things don't happen. Just move the ball. Don't keep having bad touch. Don't keep making unintelligent passes.
So, Arsenal free kick, 16.5 minutes played on Premier League Live. They lead 2-0. The free kick's about 5 yards out from the left edge of the penalty area. Sub Lucas Torreira looks like he's going to take it. Ozil Ozil is over the ball as well. So they're going to be left-footed from the German or right-footed.
Does he go for a strike on goal here, Ozil?
Torreira with 2 big goals of late.
Around the outside.
Let's see. Torreira has a pop, gets it wrong, tried to swerve it in and have the ball fizzing into the air, and as it was, not the best option there. But you just come on the pitch and you're a bit cold, maybe not the right call.
Okay, so I would have thought Ozil would have taken the seniority on that one.
Well, of the two, the other is the more regular starter, I guess, but Ozil is skipper for the day. Burnley at the other end earn a free kick from the knockdown. Barnes out to the left-hand side. It swung in. It was mishit, but it was actually almost dangerous for Arsenal to deal with. Kolasinac let it run. Delightful touch from Ozil. Another potential Arsenal counter-attack here. Lacazette has got Ozil on one side, Aubameyang on the other. Ozil up against Tarkowski. I think on that occasion he chose the wrong option. The German was never going to get there. Probably should have gone in field, but again, the basis of the counter-attack was very, very promising.
And here you see just how quick Ozil actually is. He's straight away from long. Lacazette doesn't do him any favours with that pass, because all he does is make Tarkowski favourite to get there, who ushers it out. I think he uses Ozil as a decoy on the outside to stretch Burnley's defence and maybe look to be inside himself.
Another foul. Barnes up against Xhaka this time. Xhaka brings down his man. Seen plenty of fouls. We've seen Ashley Barnes to the fore in most of the incidents in this game so far. Burnley have another free kick about midway inside the Arsenal half. If you're just joining us, welcome to Emirates Stadium. 62 on the clock on Premier League Live. Arsenal 2, Burnley 0. 2 goals from the brilliant Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Torreira, the latest sub on, as Burnley take the free kick. It's ball down by Lee, who's got time to juggle the ball on the edge of the box. I think really going further forward, so he plays it back to Jack Court. Now as far as Bardsley, the right wing back, who guides it in, looking for Lee once more. The knockdown is good as far as Barnes can't get his shot away. Shot is blocked. Second time around, it's still pinging around, and it's fired into the net. And Burnley are back into it, and it is the pantomime villain of the day, Ashley Barnes, who fires it home. And he's loved every second of that. It's his third of the season. Burnley huffing and puffing and sticking in this game, and they've got their just desserts. It's Arsenal 2, Burnley 1.
They don't really do a great deal to get pressure on the ball when Barnes is in possession. It's scrappy defending. Nobody just hoofs the ball away. And if Ashley Barnes is going to be given an opportunity like that, invariably he's going to take it. Just do not clear their lines. Great pressure from Burnley, because if Burnley players don't make an effort to close down and make life difficult, Arsenal can just hoof this into wherever they like.
But you know what? We've seen so many improvements under Unai Emery at Arsenal this season. So many, and fair play to him for what he's done in the last 4 or 5 months. But Arsenal still concede a lot of sloppy goals where nobody takes ownership.
Yeah, I think it's a case of like, well, I don't want to just stick my boot through it. Well, on those occasions, it's stick your boot through it and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Other end, Arsenal trying to undo the damage that they've done to a degree. Credit Burnley for taking their chance, but Arsenal shooting themselves in the foot to a degree as well. They're back on the attack though. Aubameyang to Guendouzi to Lichtsteiner out to the far side as Arsenal try to stretch their opponents. Here's Maitland-Niles, no real option, so he finds Lichtsteiner on the overlap. Now Alexandre Lacazette. Could have easily had a goal in this game, the Frenchman, but as things stand, he's stuck on 8 for the season. Aubameyang, his strike partner, is on to 14. Torreira to Xhaka, one of those who I think could have been a bit more incisive and taking more ownership when they were trying to get the ball clear. He at one point could have smacked it to safety and just flicked it.
I know, but that's all one thing where you just do the ugly defending, and it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be effective. But without Burnley's players being prepared to shut down, put pressure on, they don't have to worry. So Burnley actually stress the situation to the point where it breaks in their favour. And so it's the ugly side of the game. But when you look at it, they've got a toehold. Nothing more at the moment, a toehold back in this game.
65 on the clock, Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. Joe Redrom had predicted 4-1 to us a few minutes ago, and you know what, with that goal for the Clarets, that's looking potentially more likely. We've seen both teams battling ferociously for the ball on the far side, with possession changing left, right and centre. Arsenal win it back through Aubameyang, who's nearly dispossessed, but now the ball is with Kolasinac on the edge of the area. Cross shot, Lacazette tries to twist and turn, can't get the shot away, it nearly falls to Aubameyang. It doesn't quite sit for the Gunners in their third. They were mightily close. Burnley ride their luck, and again Lacazette just couldn't quite pull the trigger.
Kolasinac puts this ball across the face of goal. It is behind Lacazette. Now, is it a case of it's a bad pass, or is it a case that Lacazette's in too early? I think he'd already committed to his run, Lacazette.
He tried to drag it and turn and swivel, didn't he?
Because it's behind him. So if you can put that in front of him, he strides onto it, and it's a much easier chance to take.
Far side, Burnley win the ball back. Here's Jeff Hendrick.
And that all comes from a square pass, a pass directly across the centre of midfield from Burnley, which is always the easiest pass to cut out and the most dangerous.
Bardsley left-footed to Cork. Burnley only one goal down. They're on halfway and they're seeing a fair bit of the ball all of a sudden. Arsenal could have scored a third and didn't. They do though seem a tad rattled. It's a game that I think on the balance of play they should have put to bed by now. They haven't. Burnley haven't played their part and they've won it back again. You're right, Maitland-Niles, Lichtsteiner and Torreira all kind of leaving the ball for each other, but now Arsenal win it back after a slack Burnley pass. You just can't take your eyes off this game. Here's Aubameyang streaking clear in the blink of an eye to the edge of the penalty area. His cross is blocked by Long and behind for a corner. Another good block from Kevin Long, who has played really well since his return to the team as that auxiliary third man at the back for Burnley against Spurs and now against Arsenal, and he concedes another corner.
Yeah, when Aubameyang's directing himself towards the edge of the 18-yard area there, Kolasinac runs into the space inside him. Last place he needs to be, because what he's doing is bringing two defenders in, and that space Aubameyang wants. Now, Arsenal have a corner. Can Arsenal outdo Burnley on a set play?
It's Arsenal's first corner of the game, interestingly, to Burnley's 3 as we approach 67.5 minutes on Premier League Live. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. Mesut Ozil takes a short corner to Lucas Torreira. Unmarked is Granit Xhaka. Plays it back to Ozil. Now the delivery actually doesn't come back into the box. It's back to Xhaka. That was a strange decision, and Arsenal just passing the ball to each other rather than delivering it into the box. They've ended up having to go very deep back to Guendouzi. Now back to Xhaka. That did not work.
Now, I just wonder if Unai Emery has worked on this in training.
What, giving the ball back to his keeper from a corner?
Yeah, I did have a slightly tongue-in-cheek moment there. Yeah, I just cannot see that being something that they have thought through.
Arsenal fans not too impressed with that one.
I can see why.
Joe Hart's got his baseball cap on for the second half, we should say, because with the lunchtime sun, it is shining across into his eyes at Emirates Stadium.
It's also obviously not the kit manufacturer's brand, because there's a big piece of black tape over the front blocking out.
Unless that's just a very ropey brand, a black square, but I'd be surprised. Here come Burnley once more as they try to get an equaliser in this game. Who would have thought that a few minutes ago when they were 2 down and appearing in some disarray? Here's Ashley Westwood, good looking delivery. Here's Barnes, and there's been a foul on Lichtsteiner. Barnes found himself one-on-one shaping to shoot against Burnley, but there was a tug on the veteran Swiss as he prepared to get his shot in on goal.
As this cross is coming in, I'm watching it and saying, right, he's got Lichtsteiner where he wants him, right on top of him, and they're having a tussle between them. But this is how close Arsenal are away from finding themselves 2-0 up and a 2-2 scoreline. A slip, a mistake, a cross, a tap in. Unless they start to put themselves in a 3-1 position, they're going to be on edge.
Now here come Burnley again.
Shall I really torture the Arsenal fans listening? Go on then.
Go on.
They still face the chance, if they throw this away, of going 3 games in a row.
Jack Cork with a shot from distance, and he poked at it and didn't quite connect. It's not the biggest area of his forte and expertise, the shot from Jack Cork, but it was a good move. The final touch not brilliant, but Chris Wood again making a handful for himself. Cork decided to take it first time and fired wide, but there was not an Arsenal player anywhere near Jack Cork on the edge of the penalty area there.
Yeah, they're not sensing danger. What he's trying to do is curl that in. He opens his right boot up a little bit too far, so it swings away from that far post. But this is what I'm saying. The Ashley Barnes chance there that gets called back on a foul, and a Jack Cork strike. in the last 2 minutes, they're that close to throwing this game away, Arsenal.
70 exactly played. What a 20 minutes we've got for you here on Premier League Live. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1 as the Gunners try to get a third. Does Long bring down Lacazette? He does. It's one of the first things that Kevin Long has really done wrong in this game, but it was a fairly obvious foul. It was right in front of the referee's nose. And Arsenal do manage to get a free kick and a chance to maybe re-establish the foothold in the game that they previously had earned.
That's just a little bit of lack of concentration from Long there, because he's played so well so long in this game. To do that just shows me maybe he's getting tired, maybe he's losing a little concentration. This is such a dangerous free kick to give away in terms of who's going to take it and the position it is on the field.
Arsenal haven't lost at home to a team in the bottom 3 for 11 years.
I know, isn't that fabulous?
Can they try and make this one safe with a decent looking delivery from Ozil, headed half clear by Cork. Hendrick can't quite complete the clearance. There's a desperate claim for handball by Arsenal, which I'm not convinced about. Ball to hand, if anything. Oh dearie me, and Xhaka's down in some pain after a collision with Westwood, and Westwood's come flying in and caught Xhaka on the back of his head. It wasn't deliberate, he was going for the ball, maybe a little bit reckless though.
No, he's attacked the ball, Westwood. Xhaka stood there waiting for it to drop on his head, and Westwood's gone, no, I'm going for it. It's a legitimate ball to challenge for. The fact that he rolls over the top makes it look more spectacular. Let's see how the referee reads this.
Well, he's having a little chat to the player.
Well, he doesn't have a card in his hand.
True, Sean Dyche is pleading his player's case, probably saying exactly what you have from the touchline to the fourth official. Ben Mee, the skipper, comes over as well. Westwood being told by the referee, calm down, and me being told, calm down, your player is in Westwood. It wasn't great, I have to say. I do completely take your point, Gary, but he just comes charging in and flying over the top.
He doesn't go through the player, he tries to go over the top of the player. It is not reckless, it's not aggressive, but it's full on.
Very full on.
Yeah.
Unai Emery's not happy. He wanted to see a yellow card and bats away the situation in frustration. He's cutting a much more frustrated and nervous character on the touchline than he was 15 minutes ago. There's a real body language change in Emery.
He knows what I've just been saying. They're one mistake, slip, or a bit of brilliance away from looking at a 2-2 scoreline. And if it goes 2-2, what's to say it doesn't go 3-2 in Burnley's favour? Sorry, Arsenal fans.
I think if Arsenal don't win this game, I think their top 4 hopes are in near tatters.
Well, I don't know.
I think if they win this game,
there's too much football to be played to say
but
that.
They would be a good number of points behind and having shipped yet more points against their rivals in and around them, with that Liverpool game to come before now and Christmas.
There's way too much football to go with the league as interesting as it is. For you to pin yourself to that's Arsenal's top 4.
No, I said they'd be in danger of.
Yeah.
So Chelsea 37 points, Tottenham 39, Arsenal 34 if they lose this game, with the other 2 teams still with the game in hand to come. Chelsea, of course, our Coventry game at 3 o'clock. I stand by that. I can't see them making that back up if they don't win this game today. But will they hold on? They're still in the driving seat. They still lead the game 2-1.
They still have a more legitimate goal threat.
Chris Wood up against Socrates, nearly nudges the Greek out of the way. In the end, Socrates, helped by Lichtsteiner, just about does enough and plays the ball back to his goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. Once again, Burnley, who are dictating the game at the moment, just a goal down after that goal from Ashley Barnes, his 3rd of the season, about 10-15 minutes ago. It's all happening as Guendouzi and Bardsley both contest the ball. We've seen so many thrilling 50-50 tackles and little one-on-ones, and Sean Dyche just beneath our vantage point, poking, shouting, pointing. He's loving every minute of this, the Burnley boss.
They can't go toe-to-toe and outplay Arsenal, but what they can do is get strong, physically and disruptive, and they can take Arsenal out of their stride and rhythm, which
Wood's
they're
now
doing.
ball down Guendouzi. Westwood's down again but back up on his feet, but Wood just taking a little nibble at Mattia Guendouzi. Let's see this one.
No, he's gone for a ball that he thinks he's got, and Guendouzi's come across him. That's not a nibble, that's just a player going for something that was no longer there.
Free kick and no more the decision on that occasion. We've seen a flurry of yellow cards in this game. That, in the end, wasn't one of them. Lichtsteiner, under pressure, forced to go all the way back. We've had Mee, Cork, Barnes and Wood all booked for the away team. Guendouzi and Socrates booked for the home team. It's been a lively
you wouldn't be surprised if there were more.
We've still got the best part of 17 minutes to go in this match as well. Premier League Live, Arsenal 2, Burnley 1, and now it's Arsenal taking an eternity to get the ball clear. What a contrast to earlier in the game.
Yeah. do Arsenal have enough about them to manage a 2-1 scoreline, to strangle the possession, to deny Burnley the ball, therefore deny them the opportunity to get back in the game?
Well, even during Arsenal's 22-game unbeaten run, there were a lot of tight games and narrow wins, particularly toward the end of the run. I think of the Huddersfield game that I did a couple of weeks ago with Torreira's overhead kick as a classic example. They've not won too many of those games in emphatic fashion. They've not been bad at grinding out wins when they've not been playing well, and this would be a classic example if they do that.
To last weekend and Southampton.
That was one where it all caught up with them for me.
Yeah, threw it away.
But you can't keep getting out of jail week in, week out, and Emery had said that a couple of games prior. We've got to be more authoritative in our wins, otherwise this run will end.
Yeah, and you're just wondering if that malaise is still in play with the Arsenal players. Just looking down at the Burnley bench, Sam Vokes is definitely going to come on, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vidra
looks like he might be coming on too, and it also looks as though Alex Iwobi is about to come on for Arsenal's third and final replacement as well. Emery often makes a lot of early changes. He had to do the enforced one of Monreal, El Neni early in the second half, and we could be about to see a third with still just under 15 minutes to go. Yeah, for Burnley, at least one change up front, possibly two. On comes Vokes, and on comes Vidra. It's the double change. Off go the front two, Wood and Barnes, who have put themselves about a bit and done a very decent shift, both of them, haven't they?
They have. Although you might say that Barnes might be lucky to be subbed rather than sent off, but a story that you could make that never happened. But you're going to get much of the same with Vokes and Vidra as you did with Woods and Barnes.
Vokes with 3 goals this season so far, Vidra with 1. Both established goal scorers, we can safely say, during their careers.
If you're not familiar with Sam Vokes, he's a big lad.
It's a big unit, definitely.
Physical presence, and that's another physical presence for Arsenal to have to deal with. So Lacazette
is coming off. On is coming the aforementioned Alex Iwobi. Big round of applause for Lacazette, who hasn't got his goal today. It's another good all-round effort from the former Lyon man. Pembian might be the real top dog in the goal-scoring charts, but Lacazette is still a very, very good player, and was himself, of course, bang in form about 2 months ago. He looks a bit frustrated as he trudges off, but gives the players and the fans a round of applause. And on comes Alex Iwobi, so talented, a man who just occasionally lacks final product, that final ball, that decision-making right at the death is maybe the one area that lets him down.
Players are like that, and that's why you give them the game time, and you find that they grow and grow and grow, and that will hopefully be something in his past, not in his present or future.
Well, Emery's been very quick to say, don't worry about your mistakes, express yourself, do what you do best, and it will come. He said that publicly about Alex Iwobi.
So we're on the same page.
Even though he has drifted out of the starting 11 more often than not in recent weeks, he
was starting a lot and then finding himself substituted around about the hour or 70 minutes.
Exactly that. Both managers to the edge of their technical areas screaming out instructions that we can hear.
Because both of them know where they are right now. At a 2-1 scoreline, Emery looks at maybe throwing it away, and Dyche looks at maybe getting a point he didn't think he would get.
What a point it could be. It's a shot in the arm to Burnley's hopes of avoiding the drop, and there's a frustrating offside against Hendrick, who'd made the run. It was a late-ish flag, but it is raised, and Burnley's attack is snuffed out. 78 on the clock, Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. Saltwater Dan is listening to us from Saratoga in Florida. Been there?
Sarasota, yeah, know that well.
Sarasota.
Very pretty.
Appreciate your thoughts. Everybody, just let us how you think this game is going to end. Are we going to see some kind of drama late on? Now, Lacazette is having a little chat with, I think it's Mohamed El Neni, and the two having quite a heated exchange in and around the replacement area.
Is happy with being substituted anyway, which I don't make a bad thing, because I don't want my striker happy to be taken off.
So Lacazette was still standing up, having just come off. El Neni was sitting down, and they exchanged some words. Through ball from Westwood at the other end, looking for Matej Vidra as he fouled his man. The decision eventually is yes. Nothing given straight away as Vidra put in the cross shot to the edge of the 6-yard box, and eventually the whistle blows as Vidra puts Granit Xhaka under all sorts of pressure.
Late whistle, but it was definitely a foul on Xhaka, but Xhaka it was that gave the ball away in the first place, and that has been indicative of Arsenal. They've given the ball away in crucial places too many times. Once is more than enough, but they're into double figures right now for giving away possession in their own half, which is a problem for any team.
Joseph Stazioni listening to us says 3-1 to Arsenal will be the final score. At Talk TalkSport Live. Keep your tweets coming in from around the world as Torreira brings down his man, Ashley Westwood. Westwood is down holding his right Achilles tendon. And Lacazette is still cutting a fairly frustrated figure as he slowly takes off the bandaging around his socks. He's just been tapped on the shoulder by one of the Arsenal support team. He's cutting a slightly forlorn and isolated figure at the moment, but as you say, he's probably just steaming and frustrated that he's off and didn't get his goal.
Yeah, he's disappointed, and I appreciate that.
They're not great body language signs, though, these, are they? They're not brilliant.
He's not a happy camper.
No, he's not.
But, you know, that's something he's just going to have to take a deep breath and come to terms with. You know, whether he's frustrated at himself, whether he's frustrated at the situation of being substituted.
Knocked down, shot from distance, takes a little deflection, and Arsenal from almost nowhere nearly found themselves back in trouble. Got to be so careful, the Gunners, as you rightly said. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles is down injured again, and this one looks more serious than before. It was a long ball downfield from Joe Hart, again Arsenal ball watching, flicked on by Tarkowski. And outside of the boot, was it Taylor with the shot?
Taylor's got the shot. Hendricks is in the way, and he just jumps over the ball to not get a touch on it. And I think Maitland-Niles just gets a knock on the head.
Yeah, side of his temple.
Yeah, which is...
Is he a bit concussed here?
Taking a knock to the temple can be very dangerous. Side of the head, and it doesn't have to be a heavy impact, can just be the merest glance. If it catches you wrong, you can find yourself with a concussion. So it's right that they are managing that situation right now.
I think Torreira was lucky to escape without a yellow for that foul on Westwood, as we had a little look at the replay. We're just seeing a replay on the big screen of one or two of the fouls of the half, and there have been plenty.
It's a high boot for Torreira. Watching it on the monitor there, it's a high boot, and referees are always going to see the studs up and off the ground, and they're going to take offence to that, and they're going to stop play and bring it back. Maitland-Niles looks like he's in a better place. Referees tell him, yes son, glad you're up, now get off.
82 played, Premier League Live. Don't forget to look ahead to a Premier League weekend. The best way to do it is to subscribe to the TalkSport Premier League Preview Show podcast. That's out every Thursday, and we're about to see another Burnley replacement, the final replacement of this game. Onto the field will come the former Aston Villa defender Matt Lawton. Phil Bardsley is coming off, so Loutney perhaps is slightly more attacking of the two, but there's not an awful lot in it. They're both solid good players, aren't they?
It's legs.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about Kolasinac going up and down like a steam train. Not that the steam trains are popular anymore, but he does go up and down and is relentless in his running, and that's going to take its toll on Bardsley. He's been on that side of the field.
Adeyemi is loving the commentary from Ibadan in Nigeria. Good to hear from you.
You're welcome.
Thinks it's going to be 3-1. Joseph W. Stern, listening, driving from Denver to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ball over the top, another offside flag, and Vidra again. That's a frustrated figure as he tries to ghost in behind the back of the makeshift centre-half Granit Xhaka. Not the earliest of flags once more. Socrates' header, cut out by Lawton with his first touch. And you know what? I think Vidra is onside because Lichtstein has played him off.
Oh, well and truly, there's a yard of grass in there. That's a long drive, Denver to Baton Rouge. Whoa.
Joseph's enjoying it. We appreciate you being with us. 2 days, he says. We're doing first leg now. Lots of football, pal, for you to listen to. You've got our game, then Chelsea-Leicester live on Premier League Live, and then Cardiff-Man United. That will keep you nice and occupied behind the wheel.
Happy trails.
Here are Burnley. Vidra's made a real impact since coming on, the Czech Republic striker. Much travelled over the years, but he's always had an eye for goal wherever he's been.
Goes on hot streaks, doesn't he? He's quite a lively presence. He's very mobile, as opposed to Sam Vokes, who isn't quite as mobile, let's be polite.
But also has a good eye for goal, as we've seen for Wales and for Burnley over the years. Raking pass over the top from Burnley. Can Lawton keep this one in? Not quite. Pretty close to doing so. And Burnley are not dying wondering here either. They're giving it all they've got in the final few minutes, and fair play to them for it.
I mean, they won't have looked at this in the when the fixture list come out and gone, well, there's a given 3 points. They'll have looked at it and gone, we're going to struggle to get something out of this. And to their credit, they are saying, well, if we're going to go, we'll go having made an effort. And they are making that effort right now, and Arsenal fans are a little bit concerned because of that, and understandably so.
Attempted a little flick through from Vokes, but he was a little bit isolated there and lacking in support, and Arsenal managed to win that one back.
Okay, think about it. Joe Hart's just passed the ball out of his 18-yard area. How long since we saw Joe Hart have any kind of possession or the ball in any kind of trouble in Burnley's half around the 18-yard area. It's mainly been at the other end.
Talking of possession, Tarkowski beautiful in possession there. He turned two Arsenal players and found a teammate, but Arsenal then win the ball back. It's Vidra who's dispossessed, and here come the Gunners right in front of Unai Emery. Iwobi with a clever reverse pass to Mesut Ozil, the skipper, edge of the box, left-footed from the German. Good delivery, ball headed half clear from Ben Mee. Just took the ball away from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who hasn't seen much of the ball in the last few minutes, but don't forget, he's still on a hat-trick in this game, and that's brought the Arsenal fans back to life in their red and white Santa hats that we can see around us for the final few minutes. Arsenal back into the ascendancy. That's something we've not seen much of in the last half an hour at all.
Absolutely.
Arsenal 2, Burnley 1, 5 minutes plus time added on to go here on Premier League Live. Great to have you with us around the world as we hopefully are going to bring you a pulsating final few minutes here in North London. Burnley pressing, forcing Arsenal back. Left-footed Bernd Leno with a big kick downfield, but the Arsenal strikers don't follow that one up.
No, Aubameyang's looking at me going, well, what am I supposed to do with that? It's 20 foot over my head. Give me a chance.
Arsenal 8 attempts to Burnley 7. That stat was heavily in the Gunners' favour for much of the game. It's really closed up. It's Vidra again snapping at Xhaka's heels, but Xhaka calmly lets the ball trickle out of play for an Arsenal goal kick. Surprise, surprise, Leno will take a good while to take this.
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, we said this at the beginning of the second half, that Sean Dyche will look to try and steal the momentum away from Arsenal. They came out strong in the second half. Arsenal got that second goal, which really didn't take too much of the wind out of Burnley's sails. They still kept coming forward, but Arsenal have not been able to establish the dominance that you would expect, and that's down to Burnley disrupting and agitating.
Well, next up for Burnley, two pretty winnable games. Everton at home and West Ham at home. Obviously Everton are a decent team and so are West Ham. I'm not saying they're going to win them, but their home match is over Christmas. Turf Moor is still their fortress, even though things have dried up there a bit this season. They'll take a fair degree of momentum in after what looks like two back-to-back narrow defeats in North London. Big tackle. Socrates is the man standing tall for Arsenal, bringing another sweeping counter-attack out to the edge of the area to Alex Iwobi. He jinks left and right. He's very good at this with his fast feet. Ball takes a deflection as far as Kolasinac. It flashes across goal. Aubameyang wasn't quite attacking the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box. Ozil couldn't quite get there, and Arsenal don't get a third. Iwobi's run, bit of fortune to find Kolasinac. Good ball from him, and neither Aubameyang or Ozil seem to quite commit to it.
Ben Mee does really well on the far post because he's running in towards his own goal. He makes contact with that, he could knock it in. He doesn't, he lets it run across the face of goal knowing there's nobody behind him.
Arsenal rejuvenated over the last 90 seconds or so. They're the team now back on the front foot, and with the impetus and the wind back into their sails. Here's Guendouzi to Lichtsteiner. The crowd energised a bit now from the last couple of minutes too. Ozil just coming a bit deeper now with a little given show and give, and no real options again for Ozil, who's forced back out to the right hand side to Maitland-Niles. Arsenal at least in possession and dictating play, and that's what you need at this point of the game.
That's what we talked about. You know, they can dominate possession, then Burnley are no longer a threat.
Nice back heel from Aubameyang to Kolasinac, who can't quite take the ball in his stride. He shoves Tarkowski as he runs across as well, and no question that was a foul from the Bosnia-Herzegovina international. Tarkowski upended. Burnley do have a free kick, but so deep in their own half, and with only 90 seconds now plus time added on to get something out of this game.
And there's been 6 substitutions, so you're going to think maybe there's at least a couple of minutes, maybe 3 or 4.
6 yellow cards, 6 substitutions, and looking at the replay, there was a tiny deflection off Kolasinac's cross by Lawton, and that's what took it further away from Aubameyang and from Ozil. So you're right, Mee did well, but actually Matt Lawton's just tiny sliver of a stud on the ball also just helped Burnley. At the other end, the Clarets tried to make something happen, but Leno reacted first at the edge of his box. He plays it down to Guendouzi. His delivery is not the best, and Ben Mee cuts it out ahead of a combination of Ozil and Aubameyang, who's still hungry looking for his hat-trick. Aubameyang wins the ball back. Ozil wins the secondary ball as Aubameyang twists and turns, and good challenge from Mee there, who was falling and reacted quickly just inside his own half.
Did it so well, Mee, because Aubameyang does, as you say, want that third goal. Desperate for that hat-trick.
Neat touch from Ozil, but just overruns the ball. Here come Burnley, Jack Cork, as far as Ashley Westwood. Here's Matt Lawton.
Just launch it. I would just launch it. See if Vokes can get himself on the end of it, and we play off the scraps.
Unai Emery screaming instructions to his defence about what Arsenal need to do to get tight and just try and ride this ship at home, but my goodness, it's going to be difficult. Ball over the top from Burnley. Here's Cork, who's made another excellent run. Socrates with the interception after a slightly rickety first half at times. Socrates standing tall toward the end of the game when he's arguably most needed. There will be five additional minutes here on Premier League Live. Arsenal 2, Burnley 1. We're into the first of them. There's now the Gunners' counter-attack. Here's Iwobi, finds Ozil. Guendouzi on one side, Aubameyang on the other. Ozil beats one player, beats two, goes for the shot, takes a deflection to Iwobi, who sticks it into the back of the net. Appeals for offside. Does the goal stand? It does stand, and Arsenal have their third, and they surely put this one to bed. Sweeping counter-attack. Ozil, I thought, for a moment had made the wrong decision, but the ball fell back to Alex Iwobi, 8 yards out. The youngster makes no mistake and lashes the ball into the back of the net. 3 points assured. Normal service resumed for Arsenal. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1.
Well, it's Iwobi's drive that pushes the move forwards. He's just about onside. Loughton plays him onside. Just about is enough. I mean, Ozil's brilliance on the ball here, just fortuitous, comes off Tarkowski, but Iwobi's finish here, a bit like Aubameyang's, it's driven into the back of the net. Joe Hart's already down early, not a great deal he can do about this.
Although vociferous appeals from Hart and 2 Burnley defenders about the offside, even the Arsenal players, as they celebrated, initially gave that nervous glance, which can be telltale.
Because you're saying to yourself, you know what? If you want to talk about playing the advantage, we've just seen on the monitor that shaded direct line you can get on your screen.
Iwobi's heel is just behind Lawton. The majority of his body is level. There's a tiny bit of Iwobi's body that is behind Lawton, but clearly nothing like a whole body. That's a bit of a grey area, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know for one thing, I don't want to be around Sean Dyche right now.
Long ball over the top. Burnley still trying to get involved as best they can in the final 3 minutes of time added on Premier League Live. Leno in the end just about manages to get hold of the ball with Kolasinac helping him out. I mean, Westwood has now gone into the book as well for their 7th player this afternoon.
Our listeners are very much in the driving seat with the 3-1 scoreline. I'd just say, Arsenal fans listening, it has not been a comfortable ride, particularly the second half, considering just how much dominance you did exert in the opening minutes of this game.
Chibuza Christopher Aubameyang has been slicing defences apart since forever. Chibuza, that's a very nice way to describe it. He's not going to possibly get a hat-trick in this game, but
you never know.
It's still got about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to maybe get it done. CT, Arsenal fan driving home to New Jersey for Christmas. 3-1 to my boys. It's a wonderful broadcast. Well, CT, we appreciate that, and what a nice thing. You're driving home for Christmas, your team's winning, live on Premier League Live.
There you go. Early present.
Can Arsenal get 4? Iwobi tries to feed Aubameyang, the man on the hat-trick. Long is the player who comes across and makes the interception, and at this stage in the game, 2 down, Kevin Long is just happy to boot the ball out of play anywhere and give his team a much needed breather. So Arsenal will have a throw on the far side, looking for that 4th, and Oba looking for that potential hat-trick. We'll see if or not he can get it in the dying embers of this game. Oba with the shot, or the cross I should say this time. It's cleared by Tarkowski, and we stay at 3-1.
Unai Emery will feel relief that the scoreline has a little bit more comfort attached to it. Sean Dyche should be frustrated that they've come so close to nicking a point out of the Emirates, and they'll go around having lost the game possibly 3-1.
Do you know Joe Tollison?
Yes.
He's tweeted in saying you can also listen to Gary on the Grumpy Pundits podcast. Suits you down to a T, that the Grumpy Pundit. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
The football show.
Football show and the Grumpy Pundits on Sirius XM FC. So, Joe Tollison, sir, season's greetings.
You haven't had enough of Gary O'Reilly, then you've got various other ways you can hear it. Absolutely love it. This, though, is Premier League Live, where we have the former Spurs and Crystal Palace player at the moment. 1 minute to go. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. 2 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, numbers 13 and 14 of the season, and a second of the season for Alex Iwobi on either side of Ashley Barnes' third, making it 2-1 and putting real intrigue into the game for a good half an hour of it, which we loved. Great feist, great passion, end-to-end stuff, not always jam-packed with quality, as Xhaka plays an iffy-looking back pass. Vokes almost gets onto the end of it. It's just got enough.
If the magic word if the scoreline was still 2-1, a back pass from Xhaka like that,
he wouldn't have done that surely at 2-1, would he? Or would he?
Oh, you'll never know, but what if? Heavens above.
Final few seconds. The Gunners about to snap their 2-game losing streak on the back, of course, of 22 unbeaten. Will this be the start of another long run or not? They've got Brighton away on Boxing Day. And then, of course, the big game against Liverpool. Their last before Christmas. That's going to be a cracker.
Interesting. At Anfield?
It is at Anfield, yes it is. Here is Guendouzi. He's got Maitland-Niles making a good run, and Guendouzi finds his fellow youngster. Maitland-Niles happy to just run the clock down and take the ball to the far corner, where he keeps the ball away from me and from Taylor. No mean feat. Guendouzi back up against Taylor, and in the end Bentley wins the ball back, and that is the final moment of the game, ladies and gentlemen, the final act before Christmas of what's been a thrilling match. Emery and Dyche not happy with each other there. There was an attempted embrace between the two. There was a very kind of half-hearted handshake before Dyche pushed Emery slightly away. So I think accident frustration in the dugouts. In the end, though, Arsenal get the win. They stay fifth, but have renewed wind in their sails and renewed momentum in their season. Burnley, with a huge scrap on their hands, they're inside the bottom 3 at Christmas time as it finishes Arsenal 3, Burnley 1 on Premier League Live. Let's remind you of all the key points of the game. Nice little 1-2 between Kolasinac and Ozil. Here's Lacazette, bending ball to Aubameyang, screaming for it. It's Maitland-Niles who shoots it safe. Aubameyang tries to follow up, and it's hacked clear. Lovely move from Arsenal. Lightning start to the game. Here they come. Shot just wide. Wonderful effort from Ashley Barnes, who took the ball on, slipped as he tried to shoot. At both ends, we've come very close. Here's Ozil. Lovely through ball. So close to the opening goal, and it is scored eventually by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It had to come. Ozil's through ball, flicked back in field, and Aubameyang with the outside of his right boot calmly and classily guides the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of the net. Hart couldn't get that, and it's Arsenal 1, Burnley 0. Kolasinac in the field to Lacazette. Ozil steps over it to Aubameyang, who thinks about the shot. Oh, it's a rocket into the roof of the net from the outstanding Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It's his second of the game. It's his 14th of the season, and it's Arsenal 2, Burnley 0. Now as far as Barnsley, the right wing back, who guides it in, looking for Lee once more. The knockdown is good as far as Barnes can't get his shot away. Shot is blocked. Second time around, it's still pinging around, and it's fired into the net. And Burnley are back into it, and it is the pantomime villain of the day, Ashley Barnes, who fires it home. Ozil beats one player, beats two, goes for the shot, takes a deflection to Iwobi, who sticks it into the back of the net. Appeals for offside. Does the goal stand? It does stand, and Arsenal have their third. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, the final score. Thoroughly enjoyed being alongside Gary O'Reilly, the former Tottenham, Brighton and Crystal Palace defender here on Premier League Live. Gary, I'm going to make you the final bit of your corn here. Arsenal currently 5th, 37 points from 18 games. Mm-hmm. Are they going to make top 4 by the end of the season, or are they the big team to probably miss out from the top 5?
It's too early to say. I think they've shown with that run that they went on that they have the belief to do it. Bit of immaturity, throwing it away at Southampton. You're seeing a little bit of maybe a hangover from that in this game. They are missing basically most of their defence. So as such, you have to be mindful if you're critical, but I think it's too early to say. I think they've really given Tottenham an awful lot to think about. Chelsea have come into the season stronger than we thought they would do, and therefore, they are going to be in the conversation. They could well nudge Tottenham out or Chelsea out, and it could be Arsenal that go out. It's just too early to say because they're very, very strong teams.
Similar question to finish quickly. Burnley, 12 points from 18 games, minus 20 goal difference. Will this Clarets team stay up, do you think?
I think they're one of the biggest surprises of the season. Having pushed themselves into a comfortable top half position last term, to find themselves in the bottom three right now is terrible, because you're looking at it and you're saying goals change games, but at the moment they're not really a goal machine, are they?
Been an absolute pleasure, Gary. Thank you very much indeed.
Season's greetings to you.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for all of your brilliant interaction as well at TalkSport Live. It's been plentiful over the course of the game. We thoroughly enjoyed it. 2 more live games to come on Premier League Live over the course of the rest of the afternoon and evening UK time. 5:30, Cardiff City, Manchester United. That's with Tom Rennie and Reece Weston as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer takes temporary charge of the Red Devils. But next up, Paul Parker and the brilliant John Anderson will guide you through Chelsea against Leicester City here on Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at talksport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit talksport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com. Premier League Live with TalkSport.
Oh, it's gone in! It's David Luiz with the final touch!
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
And there's Torreira! It's a spectacular
dentures. Dirty dishes.
That was really stupid.
Step 6, it's time to relax.
Perfect day.
Step 1, when you wake up, put on your slippers.
Good morning.
Step 2, it's time to brush those dentures. Step 3, now I gotta make some coffee. So